In the words of the great Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Got my second TV. I got one for my living room now and one for my bedroom. So.
Do you really need two? I mean, can I have one?
If you come over and watch some movies with me.
Okay.
We've seen a few pretty hilarious instances over the years of NFL players attempting to spit some game on live TV. So without further ado, let's take a look back at 10 times NFL players were caught flirting on live TV. Let's start with an oldie but a goodie. When Chad Ochocinco, formerly known as Chad Johnson, took to one of the cheerleaders on the sidelines during a 2005 matchup against the Indianapolis Colts. Though there isn't exactly a storied rivalry between the two teams, this was still a pretty big game. Both Indy and Cincy had beastly offenses, and Chad, as he was one to do, had been running his mouth all week that he couldn't be stopped. And, well, that proved to be pretty true, as he went off for a career-best 189 yards, including a 68-yard touchdown bomb. Now, unfortunately for Ochocinco, they ended up coming up short, losing 45-37. But he was still a winner for the day, not just because of his stat line, but because of the epic proposal he pulled off after that long touchdown catch. I don't think this love story ever evolved into happily ever after, but hey, based on how excited the cheerleader looked and that empathetic hug at the end, well, I wouldn't be too surprised if this instance of an NFL player flirting on live TV turned into a little mini fling. Now, this isn't the only time we've seen a cheerleader end up on the radar of an NFL player. Take, for example, Buffalo Bills wide receiver David Nelson, who was caught giving a touchdown ball to Dallas Cowboys cheerleader Kelsey Reich. Nelson's smooth moves, like Ochocinco's, also came at a loss, and a super embarrassing one at that. His Bills lost to the Cowboys by a whopping 44-7. Unlike Chad, though, it's pretty safe to say that this wide receiver's flirtations were definitely welcomed by the cheerleader, despite the fact that she worked for the opposing organization. And that's because the two were actually a couple, even prior to him handing off his team's lone touchdown ball to her. Nelson and Reich's relationship, however, ultimately went about as well as his team's effort against Dallas, as he's since married a different woman whom he's had 2 children with. I guess we've learned that hitting up a cheerleader after a touchdown isn't the best way to go about finding a long-term partner. Who would have thought? While we're talking about failed relationships, how about we pay some mind to the love, or the lust, that was brewing between Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers and sports media personality Erin Andrews. The two were rumored to have been dating back in the early 2010s, when she was still a reporter for ESPN. And let's just say that the way that the two of them have interacted on live TV over the years, that this wouldn't be a huge surprise.
Feels right, doesn't it?
It does feel right. It's been a while. Been a while. It's not that long ago.
Couple years.
We have seen Andrew interview the superstar quarterback several times throughout her career, and it seems like every time, sparks are flying. Or damn close to starting to. Even when they were supposed to be socially distancing in 2021. In this case, Andrews interviewed Rodgers following a game that put his Packers in the driver's seat for the #1 seed in the NFC playoff picture. And Rodgers also passed Green Bay legend Brett Favre for the franchise touchdown lead. But I think the clip pretty much speaks for itself. Now, if that doesn't scream chemistry between these two, then I don't know what would.
I've known EA for a long time. I do what I'm told in those situations about keeping distance, but I'm a hugger, and I enjoy seeing my friends, post-game.
Rodgers isn't the only NFL quarterback that Andrews has found herself tangled up in the rumor mill with. This is in part because of the way that she and San Francisco 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo appear to be flirting on live television for the whole world to see. Just like with Rodgers, this duo has done a couple of sit-down interviews. But the interaction is at its purest when they get to talking off the cuff on live TV. Kinda like they did in October of 2019 after the Niners cruised to another win, a 28-25 victory over the Arizona Cardinals that put them at 8-0. Garoppolo was clearly in a very good mood afterward, and rightfully so considering where the team was at the time. And the San Francisco quarterback was not afraid to let it show with some friendly flirtations with the popular sideline reporter. The two of them clearly have great chemistry on air and make for interesting conversation. But it wasn't until the closing seconds of the interview that things really escalated.
8-0. How does that feel?
Feels great, baby.
Happy Happy Halloween right back at you. Thanks so much.
Definitely, no problem.
It's funny enough to begin with that he called her baby on live TV, but when you factor in the surprised expression really on both of their faces, it's truly an epic slip-up. Now luckily for Garoppolo, he isn't hard on the eyes either. And though she seemed a bit thrown off for a second, she largely just seemed charmed by the whole ordeal. Watch out, Rodgers. Erin Andrews has a new NFC quarterback on her radar.
I didn't expect it to blow up like that. Is what it is type of thing. But yeah, I was excited. 8-0, baby.
At least these two signal callers have done their best to iterate and improve upon some of the tactics used by other legendary players at the position over the years, because while you might think that all football stars, the quarterbacks in particular, are as smooth as they come, we have some hard evidence that this is not always the case. And if you aren't ready for the cold, hard, cringe-worthy truth, then look no further than the Hall of Fame quarterback for the New York Jets, Joe Namath, whose sideline exploits with Susie Colbert put him in a very questionable light to most folks. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that Namath is lucky that his public flirtation was way back in 2003 and not more recently, because I think nowadays the public perception of the entire ordeal would be much different, especially with the advent of social media. I mean, imagine what would be playing out on Twitter while I describe this interaction.
What does it mean to you now when the team is struggling?
I want to kiss you.
Yeah, that's right. He actually said that on live TV. Now, as if that wasn't cringeworthy enough, he continued on by saying,
I couldn't care less about the team struggling, and I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah!
Namath was visibly drunk during the incident and apparently stopped drinking after the incident because he was so embarrassed by his botched flirtation.
Thank you, Susie. Joe's just a happy guy, isn't he? He's just a happy guy. Oh boy, is he happy.
To his credit, he also called Colbert to apologize. I saw it as a blessing in disguise. Namath said in his book, All the Way, My Life in 4 Quarters. I had embarrassed my friends and family, and I could not escape that feeling. And I haven't had a drink since. Colbert, on the other hand, handled the situation as smoothly as could be, recognizing that Joe was not in the right state of mind and calling it a huge compliment.
Yeah! Huge compliment. Joe Namath, part of the 4-decade team. We'll see these guys at halftime.
Hey, pretty good on both of them for not letting a weird sequence of flirting on live television get completely out of hand. The Patriots, the other team playing on that fateful day, have also had a handful of players caught flirting on live television.
What are you doing for Valentine's Day?
Whoa. Whoa. What are you doing?
Rob Gronkowski, as it turns out, the former All-Pro tight end's physical gifts are not limited to the gridiron. And if for whatever reason he didn't pan out on the football field, he's shown proof that he would be able to make it as a dancer. This was clear after the performance he put forth on Fox Sports' Whitlock's House Party by the Bay. Wow, that was something. Hey, at least he earned himself a couple of tips off of that. Though this really pushed the boundaries, I guess we shouldn't be surprised at any of Gronk's public flirtations. That has basically proven to be his MO over the years. Think back to 2015 when he did that famous sit-down interview with Carissa Thompson. When she asked him about whether or not he still liked to have a good time, he went full Gronk mode.
Still are a guy that likes to have a good time. Are you different than you used to be?
I don't know. Maybe you'll have to find out.
Oh, what? Was that a challenge?
Or when she asked him for one thing that people didn't know about him, with a twinkle in his eye, he said that he likes to snuggle.
What's one thing people don't know about you?
Ooh, I like to snuggle.
You like to snuggle?
Yeah, why not?
So it's like spooning? What do you mean?
Nah, we ain't getting into details now.
Oh, Gronk. Truly one of a kind. But just because Gronk is one of a kind doesn't mean that there haven't been other New England players caught up in flirtatious situations of their own. In fact, we saw a couple of his former Patriot teammates apparently trying to take a page out of his book when they were turned into starstruck cartoons by the attractiveness of one of the NFL Mexico reporters at Super Bowl Media Day.
What's it called? Sombrero? What's going on, Sombrero? Yeah, that's right. It can't fit. It just, you see, it won't fit.
Non-something for Mexican girls?
I don't know. I don't know. I was 10 years old. I can do a little of this. That's about it. That's all. No bien or something. Look, he blushing.
You know, it's bad when you get called out for blushing. They need to get this reporter on ESPN and interviewing more people. Who knows what untold stories she could get out of people with her charm. Kind of like DraftKings tried to do when the gambling company set up a face-to-face sit-down with superstar wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. and MMA fighter Ronda Rousey. The entire conversation was a trip to begin with. And there was some obvious, well, let's just say tension between the two controversial figures.
What about this one? How's it?
What had happened was the clothes that they had, they were actually, it wasn't gonna be good for the shoot, so they just decided to shoot without them. You know, I tried to work out like you do to get right for that.
Did they like tan you for it?
No, just, you know, natural tan.
I think the icing on the cake with this one for me was the faces Odell made while analyzing Rousey's photos. And then when he announced that he was gonna keep one of them.
Back at it again. Damn, Daniel.
Yeah, I'm naked. That's paint. And that took 14 hours to put on, that paint.
14 hours? I'm gonna keep this one because it seemed like you really enjoyed it.
Odell almost looks as googly-eyed as Adrian Peterson did when he tried to do some promo for EA Sports, and he let his hormones get the best of him.
This is pretty hot, actually.
That is smooth. I like this.
Are you gonna go home and practice? Are you psyched to be in town?
You gonna practice with me?
Sure, do you want me to?
I do.
I've played before.
I mean, just look at this exchange. It's truly something to behold.
You don't like crazy chicks?
No, not at all. Gotta stay away from them. Let me see if I see that in your eyes.
It's like playing football. You're really good at reading people's minds and anticipating their moves. It probably really helps with women.
It does.
I bet.
I'm reading your mind now.
Oh my God. You're gonna tell me what I'm thinking? Actually, don't say it out loud.
Don't say it out loud.
And last but not least, we have yet another stud running back, Marshawn Lynch, who got caught flirting on NFL Live in what can only be described as the most Marshawn way imaginable.
Why you ain't telling me you got the all dipping in my business?
Oh, that's my job.
That ain't even the business yet.
No? Too early?
Lynch ended up asking Colleen Wolfe, whose massive diamond ring was clearly visible on her left hand, a return question about where their first date would be.
I like soul food, so when I saw that, I was like, oh, he got a soul food
So that's
place?
our first date to the soul.
Oh my God.
Oh no, look at this
Money.
thing.
I'm sorry, you can't.
Yes, married.
Apparently, Lynch got a couple of new customers for his soul food joint. Just no date.
So we will not be dating.
No.
Or going on a date
No.
to the soul food restaurant.
Hey,
but you could come.
can I actually one
I'm
real
gonna
question?
charge you a little extra though, just because. And I'm gonna charge him a little bit more too though.
But which current NFL player do you think is the biggest dog? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.